Hello, hello, I'm here with your channeled message of the day or whatever. Let's see what they want to bring through. Higher awareness now speaks through you in ways that were not able to be shown the fullness of the light that they deserved up until this point. So when you fully and finally allow these parts of self to be allowed into the light, these parts of self that you have not only existed in from the inception of this incarnation, but that you have also not allowed to come into the fullness of expression up until this point, you are going to be guided to be part of the collective weaving in new ways. It's through this solidarity of self that you find the pathway unfolding in you and out through you. It is through the embodiment of the oneness that you are, not by only allowing the versions of self that you view as positive or beneficial, but by viewing and allowing for all versions of self to exist at the same time. It is through this that you are allowing for these higher vibrational experiences to occur. You find yourself at a crossroads now, the crossroads between the old and the new, and you see that the new requires something of you that has not been part of the present, that has not been part of your journey until now. This crossroads requires you to embody all of yourself, to accept all of yourself, to bring all of yourself to the surface so that you can be rejoined in this internal union. The internal union, yes, the pathway becomes clearer when you are clearer, when you understand yourself, when you understand your methods of and modes of reactivity, why and where certain emotional experiences come from, and how you can better serve yourself when these things come to the surface. But the reality is that the internal sense of union comes not through disbanding these parts or versions of self that are in need of the experience of nurturing or love, but by fully accepting and embodying all of them and choosing to act from a place of unconditional nurturance and love to the self and to the sum of all of these parts. When you move through shadow, it often feels like there are pieces of you that become healed. There are pieces of you that exist no more. It is not that they no longer exist. It is that they have been transformed, as most and many of these parts of self have existed in an attempt to protect you from some kind of external circumstance, although this is likely just your internal perception of said external circumstance. So it is this transformatory process, this transmutational process, that leaves you feeling like you have left this part of you behind, but it has just been brought back into wholeness in a new way. It has been allowed to have light shone on it in a way that allows for a fullness of acceptance, a fullness of heart to take root in the heart and mind of your individualized sense of self. So you are finding that wholeness, finding that union, not through letting go of all of the old. The clearing away of density allows for you to experience yourself from new perspectives, with more compassion, with more love, with more peace, with more unity. And you will continue to do so. And so as you continue to navigate some of these internal experiences that might be uncomfortable, allow yourself to come into this state of acceptance. Allow all of these parts of yourself to be okay, to be acceptable, to be lovable, and give yourself the tools that allows you to give these things to yourself now. It is not some external force or source that is going to give you these experiences of acceptance. You must find them inside of you, and then they will radiate and become outside of you. Give yourself the grace that you deserve. Acknowledge where you have had difficulty and acknowledge where things have been more tiresome or arduous than you would have liked them to be, and understand where this part of you that creates difficulty or resistance is coming from. Why do they act the way that they do? Why does that part of you choose to try and force the external to meet the expectation that it desires? Where is it lacking love? Where is it lacking support? Where is it lacking? Period. From this place, you can find out how you can give yourself much of the things that you have been desiring. And as you do that, you find your internal state of union, your internal state of oneness, and you allow yourself to become anchored in these new frequencies of unconditional love, because the unconditional love must stem from the unconditional love of self before it can be experienced as an unconditional love within the collective. Many of you have a difficult time finding this sense of love, as it is often pushed to the wayside. It is not prioritized in the same way that your unconditionality is prioritized in other directions within your life experience. Find this sense of wholeness and completeness where you are right now, without needing things to shift or change, without needing things to be different. Be present with the parts of you that have given you strength, clarity, safety, and protection, because all parts of you have desired to keep you in a state of wholeness and balance, although you have never left this space. Give thanks, give gratitude, spend time with these parts of self, and know that you are unconditionally loved and supported from all sides of your reality. Well, that was a beautiful message. I also just did a longer video about this on my Patreon for those that are interested in it. It was a very, very similar message. I just go a little bit deeper into doing some of the parts work around some of the parts that might be coming up right now. But with the lunar eclipse, like heightened emotionality and releasing and, you know, all these different parts of self coming up is totally normal. And just allowing for the space for these things to come up without needing them to change, and really kind of deep diving and investigating, like, what are these parts of self? What are they needing? Where, you know, what have they brought into your life experience to either like protect you or bring in some form of safety or, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Figure out what the fear is behind it. What's the fear? What's the wounding? And give yourself what that version of you needed in the moment where its energy really began. So yeah, that's it for today. I love you all so very much, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.